Hello, beautiful people. Happy Tuesday. I was, just walking around the park and I came across this little feather, and I just took it as a sign to sit down and have a conversation here at the park and bring it just back to basics. I haven't done videos in a long time, and I figured what better way than to start over and in the way that I felt most comfortable, and it's outdoors. And so today's topic is all about the art of letting go, the process of letting go, the journey of letting go, whatever you want to call it, but letting go, right? Simply letting go. Although it's not that simple, right? Contrary to popular opinion, belief, letting go is not as easy as it sounds, right? And I'm personally coming from a relationship perspective, not necessarily romantic, just overall, like any relationships you have with people, right? It can be hard to let go, right? Regardless of how the relationship was, whether it was a friendship, a family relationship, a romantic relationship, right? However, whatever kind of relationship it was, letting go is hard, right? Especially when you realize that letting go is not hard because of the relationship itself, but realizing how much love you actually brought into that relationship, right? That's what makes it hard to let go, because you realize how much love you are made from, right? How much love you carry within you. And people who are like that can find it hard to let go, because we can continue just loving, not realizing that over time, love is not enough, right? Love does conquer all, don't get me wrong. Love is enough in the broader aspect of things, but in a relationship, it takes more than love, right? It takes loyalty, it takes respect, it takes understanding, empathy, compassion, you name it, right? The list can go on and on. Like, a relationship is not just one thing, it's so many things that end up resulting in the act of love, right? And so what I realized this year is mainly how much love I have for the people that I do love, right? Regardless of how I was treated in the relationship, regardless of my position in their lives was, it doesn't change the fact that my love is there, right? I've learned also that I could be very angry and full of rage, or want to tell them and want to flip them off, right? And just erase them from my life. But that's not how life works, right? I realized that the more I held on to that anger, the more I wanted to be someone or treat the other person how they've treated me, or how I feel like they should feel, just so they can feel a little bit of my own pain and suffering. It wasn't gonna get me anywhere, because at the end of the day, that's not who I am. It's not who I want to be anyway, right? I don't gain nothing from making other people suffer more, right? And I realized that in the process of that, my anger was just what's love, was the fact that I didn't want to accept that, yes, I was angry, but I still have love for them, right? And I realized that in all aspects, in friendships and in love and in family and in myself, love of self, right? I realized that no matter how much I want to negate many things and act like I don't care or act like I've moved on, I haven't. And it's okay, right? That's something else that I don't like about the process of letting go, that you hear from many people, is to let go, right? Kind of like just leave. It's not that easy, right? Whether it's the fear of letting go because you're gonna lose that person, or the fear of letting go because you're gonna miss out on something, or the fear that you're making a mistake, even though you know you're not. Those are all valid points, right? And my movement is all about creating a safe space, and what better way than to be vulnerable, starting with myself, right? And a lot of my hardships of letting go have come from those places of fear of, like, if I express my true self, if I set boundaries, if I become firmer in what I want, or be more vocal and, like, this is what I want now, not what I used to want, I don't want anymore, but this is what I want. My fear of losing those people, right? Even though I don't lose anything, right? Because if they don't want to be in my life, then it's on them, right? Like, it's not even their loss, it's not meant to be, right? And yesterday I shared in my stories, if you were listening, that it's not that when you let go you stop caring, right? It's just that you realize there's no need of forcing things. And so once you get to a point where you start forcing things, or you start catching yourself repeating yourself of the things that you want, and it's not being tended to or comprehended by the other person or persons, then it's time to let go, right? And again, letting go is going to be different for everybody. For me, it just has been a lot of going back to self, right? Like, okay, if I'm not getting across my needs to who I want those needs to be met from, then I need to meet them myself, right? Like, if I want more love, I need to give that love to myself. And how can I give that love back to me? By being honest with myself, by feeling my feelings, right? By allowing myself to process what areas of me still need more healing, still need more tending to, because I am healing, right? But sometimes we focus on just one area, not realizing that there's other areas that also need tending to. And so it all goes back to self, right? As much as we want to point the finger, as much as we want to place all the loving to others to give to us, it's us that need to do that, right? We need to make sure that we feel good with ourselves, that we are able to love ourselves, so that in the event we're not receiving that love from others, we're okay with ourselves. We're not, we're not starting to doubt or feel unworthy or not enough because someone else is not, measuring up the love that we want from them, right? And so for me, letting go this year has been a lot of digging back to self, going back to, within myself, and asking God, mainly asking God, like, hey, like, where am I not paying attention? What do I need to do? How can I still be love and give love without overpouring from an empty cup, right? If my cup is empty, how can I catch that on time before I continue overpouring to the point that I drain myself, right? And I've learned to manage that very well this year, and I'm very proud of myself. I fought so hard when it comes to self-sabotaging thoughts and stuff like that. And so I realized that letting go is gonna be a process. At least for me, I just learned a lot that I don't lose nothing by saying I love you, right? Like, I love you doesn't mean I may want you back in my life, or I may want you back in my life, but now there's new, I don't want to say rules, right? Rules, right? Because love should be unconditional, right? But there's also a twist in that. There's also, like, there is kind of a condition in the sense where, like, if I feel betrayed, or I feel like I'm not getting my cup filled in the way that I would like you to, then I must distance myself, or I must take a step back. But it shouldn't change oneself to stop giving that love, right? Because when you stop giving the love that you naturally give, you punish yourself, because then you're not being yourself, right? You can say, oh, I'm being myself because I love myself, and I'm not giving my love to others or the people who don't deserve it, knowing that you still love them, right? And you're not doing yourself a service. You're not serving yourself by negating that love that you do so willingly and freely, right? That's what makes you you. And so for me, letting go is just more so of accepting that it is a process, that it's not something that's gonna happen overnight. For some people have the blessing of letting go like this, like if nothing ever happens. Some people have the blessing that they just need a few, days or weeks or even months to process things, and they're brand new. But for me personally, it takes me a long time. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I do feel like because it takes a long time for me to let go, I can delay a lot of growth. But now I'm aware of it, right? Now I know not to spend too much time on it, to feel the feelings when the feelings come up, but not stay there, right? That's the main difference this year, that my process of letting go has been, recognizing that I am love, and that I love the people that I love regardless of how I've been treated, because I just simply see beyond the way they've hurt me. And I realized that the way they hurt me, whether it was intentional or not intentional, is just a projection of themselves. It's just a projection of how they never learned to love, or love in a way that that shows vulnerability, right? A lot of the people that I do love are afraid of vulnerability, don't know how to express that love, or if they do, they do it and then they take it all back because X, Y, and Z. I can't speak for them, right? But that's just my observation, that a lot of people that I love run from vulnerability. And me being a person that likes to face vulnerability, that can be intimidating. So it takes a lot to be vulnerable, right? And it took me a long time. So it's like I'm just trying to have more compassion of those people that I love that unfortunately did things to hurt me, and I them too. I'm no saint here, right? Like, I know that I have acted from a place of hurt, and unfortunately I have hurt people that I love in the process, and for that I constantly take accountability. I constantly say, hey, if I hurt you, let me know. Like, I will fix it, right? I will fix my wrongs, because I'm not here to act like a saint. The only difference is that now I'm willing to speak up for my needs, right? And I've realized that the more I speak for my needs, I realize, like, hey, it wasn't so bad, right? Like, I'm not gonna lose anything. And me letting go, or in me embracing more of who I am, it's not gonna scare people away. If anything, it's gonna show me where I can be vulnerable and where I cannot. And again, I just believe that there's no right or wrong answer in the process of letting go. And it's a tricky situation when it comes to people, being a movement that speaks about trauma. A lot of trauma comes from an abuse point of view. And, I can testify to that. I grew up in an abusing environment, and I've experienced it throughout my entire life in different ways, in subtle ways, in obvious ways, whatever you want to call it. And so I wanted to create this message for the person who is currently battling trauma, specifically trauma that deals with abuse, that's constantly being told to let go, to let it go, to forget about it. Don't. Take your time. Take your time to let go, because at the end of the day, only you will know when it's time to fully let go. Maybe you haven't fully let go because there's still more things for you to learn. And I hope it's not in a way that creates more harm in your life, or more trauma in your life. I truly hope that it's not that. But if it must be, then there's more for you to learn, right? And so I want to give more compassion and more safe space to people who are constantly being told to let go, as if it were that easy. If it were that easy, we wouldn't have so much trauma. We wouldn't have so much heartbreak and suffering. And so, our level of suffering and pain varies from person to person. And I'm no one, and no one is a saint to be able to point the finger or judge someone else for not being able to let go, right? Embrace the process of letting go. If there's anything I could say to end this video, is embrace the process to let go. There will be days that you feel like you haven't even started the process, and trust me, I have had those days, and it sucks, and it's heartbreaking. But if there's anything that I know, if you're in your healing journey, you'll realize that even on the days that it feels like you haven't healed or haven't done anything with your life, those are the very days that your conscious and even your subconscious mind will tell you, yes, we have changed. Because if we hadn't changed, we wouldn't be talking about this, or we wouldn't be recognizing these feelings. Trust that voice. That's what I also meant from my first short video that I did this past week, where I was like, sometimes silence is important, right? Sometimes staying intentionally silent is important, because that way we can process our thoughts. We can gather our true feelings and what needs to still be processed, right? And I'm all about reclaiming our voice. I will always stand by that. I'm all about speaking our truth and silencing the extra noise, right? But sometimes that extra noise comes with information that we need to process, that we need to include in our healing journey, because sometimes that external noise is kind of screaming a message at us, telling us, hey, look at this area of your life, or look at this part of your heart that needs tending to. And so everything ties up together. I'm gonna start creating more videos around healing again, around changes of life, and in embracing change, and in embracing who you once were and who you are now, and realizing that the version you were before is who you needed to be who you are now, right? There is no growth if you can't notice it throughout the different times of your life, right? Again, I'm in a place where I want to return back to being vulnerable. I want to start sharing more experiences about my life, and this year has been a year of transformative change. And for the first time, I was telling my mom this, for the first time in my life, I'm able to say it's okay if people still choose to look at me from their own perspectives, because I know who I am now. I know what I bring to the table. I know what I am made of, and heck no, I'm not perfect, but no one is. And with God in my heart, in my soul, in my mind, in my body, that's all I need. That's all the strength I need to fight through these spiritual battles, to fight through these intrusive thoughts and unworthiness that I feel sometimes, and not enoughness, right? I know who I am. I know what I want, and I'm losing the fear. I'm letting go of the fear of staying silent due to fear. Now I'm staying silent because I want to be intentional. I want to speak with intention. I want to move with intention. And if that means me loving my enemy, don't take it too literal, but if that means me loving my enemy in the best way I can, which to me means just being respectful, or having compassion from a humanity level, then that's what I'll do. If that's what's gonna heal my heart, if that's what's gonna heal my soul, then I'm willing to do that. And I know that's not gonna come overnight, but I'm willing to take it day by day and always forward. Stay full of love, my beautiful people. Till next time.